So a couple months ago, I got veneers, and it was a lot. It was a lot of work, and a lot of effort, and a lot of pain. And things have been getting better, like day by day. And then the other day, I injured myself on a potato chip, and had to go back to the dentist because I literally caused myself a bleeding wound.
But it was unrelated to the veneers, though, right? You
Correct.
tripped over a potato chip.
This chip came out of nowhere.
It's a drive-by chipping. No, yeah, it's not related to the veneer, but because it wounded me so close to a veneer, I had to go in and get x-rays taken and to make sure that nothing was infected.
Did you lie and make it sound like you chewed on something cooler sounding, like something harder?
No, I definitely said it was a chip.
I was eating,
but it was kettle cooked. All right, those are the hard ones.
Yeah, it was kettle cooked.
Well, because was it actually kettle cooked?
I think it actually was, because I do like kettle cooked chips.
So, yeah, well, if you had said it was something else, they would have just been pissed off at you. If you were like, sorry, I got this from eating a jawbreaker, or I got this from eating a handful of glass.
Then they'd be super mad at me. They'd be like, put veneers in your mouth, you're eating a jawbreaker? Get the fuck out. Terrible.
Yeah. So what, is there do you have limitations? What are you allowed to eat? If chips are off the table.
Yeah, really. Then what's on the table?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I've been eating a lot of oatmeal, mashed potatoes.
Right.
Oatmeal.
This is taking me back. Yeah.
Oatmeal in mashed potatoes.
Both scones that are very soft.
Potato flavored oatmeal.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Ew, what?
Well, I am pleasantly surprised at our new theme song. Hey everyone, PushingUpRoses here. Welcome back to Save Your Game. That was our new theme song for spooky season, courtesy of my co-host.
Spooky season is upon us.
It's upon us. It is here.
You laughed over top of the witch's laugh.
I did, because I thought it was great.
I wonder if people heard the witch's laugh or just heard your laugh and then assumed that you figured out how to double your voice.
I will cut out my amusement if it irks you.
No, I don't want you to cut out your amusement. I don't know what I want. I don't even know what I want anymore.
Yeah, I hear that. I just want pizza, and that's the only thing that I want ever in my entire life. What?
Who's here with us today?
We have a special guest for you guys. Paul, I can never remember your last name. And if you want, I know, I have a very good memory. I have something called exceptional memory, which is not just an adjective. It's actually a medical condition. And yet, Korman, Paul Korman, did I do it?
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you nailed it. I was going to suggest you make one up every time you can't think of it. I almost prefer that now, but it's fine. No, it's fine. Say the real one, whatever.
We can go back. I can edit in Paul Georgeson, which is definitely a real name.
Paul Norseman.
Paul here is an adventure game developer, and he has a game coming out very soon called The Phantom Fellows. Congratulations on completing your game, Paul. How are you feeling?
Good, terrified, so scared. Yeah, I hope it works when people press the double click the on button.
The on button.
The game will be out by the time people are hearing this too. So we'll talk about it in a bit, but you can all go to Steam and look up The Phantom Fellows right now.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah,
while supplies last. Steam only has so many.
Not sponsored.
And Paul, you also host the Classic Gamers Guild podcast.
Yeah, I didn't name it. It was, but yeah, I do. It's look, I won't get into pedantics with the name right off the bat. Yeah, it's a podcast. It's another podcast. We say words with our mouths about adventure games.
Oh man,
Dare
that sounds
you?
familiar.
Did you know we do a podcast? And yet you decided to keep doing yours. Interesting. That's an interesting thing, is that you knew that we were doing them and you decided to keep recording yours. That's just an interesting thing, and it just
I'm pretty sure he was here before us, Matt. Actually.
No. Adventure Classic Gamers Guild podcast. Go check it out, everybody. It's a very fun show. And we're happy to have you here on our dumb show.
Well, shucks. First of all, thank you for having me. And also, absconded. I wrote that word down, and it just says, please shoehorn this in during the episode. So this is me saying absconded. I thought I would do it with more grace, but
why? Okay, hold on. Walk me through this. So you're saying at some point today you thought of the word absconded, and you're like, oh, that's good. I should say that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I was like, it'll make you sound smart. So,
in all fairness, it's a great word.
No, it is. Yeah,
it is a good word. It doesn't come up very often because people don't abscond very often.
This was my fear. That's why I was like, let's just say it. Yeah,
right. Hey, Paul.
Yeah,
you been playing any games lately?
Uno. Playing a lot of Uno.
Okay,
hey,
cool.
It's a classic.
Digital, analog.
In his spectacular failing to read the room, he goes with a card game.
No, I'll talk about Uno.
We'll talk about Uno.
It's a short-lived conversation. I you know what it is? I think half the reason I ended up doing an adventure game podcast because I struggle to talk about other games like platformers and like Mario. Yeah. Like when there's no story, it's like, well, I ran and jumped, and then
Yeah. As a reviewer of adventure, like I write reviews, and if I ever try to write something that does, like a review about something that doesn't have a story, it's very much just like the jumping was good, and I liked the art. I don't fucking know. It was cool when the guy got blown up. I don't fucking know. Yeah.
Each boss got a little harder to beat. The end,
And I guess even those games tend to have some level of like, if not direct story, at least like thematic.
Right.
Yeah, like some it's telling you something. It's telling like a vague story thematically, even if it's not dialogue and the 3-act structure, but still.
I mean, when I was doing retro gaming, I didn't just do like computer games. I did like just a variety of stuff. And somehow I managed to review like the Lion King and Aladdin for the Genesis and just go off the rails and talk about like personal, just put personal things and how I felt about each character and what they were thinking. That's how I review games. I don't know about the rest of y'all.
Reviewing the Lion King game from the point of view of the giraffes whose heads you jump on.
Oh, those poor things. They are definitely concussed.
Well, I hate to repeat myself, but Paul, have you been playing anything?
Damn. I thought I could get away with just, all right, he came back to me. Fair enough.
No, if you haven't, it's fine. No, it's fine.
You know what? I'll be helpful. I'll be useful. I'm a guest in your home, and it's not one of those weird take your shoes off homes. I appreciate that. Okay, I beta tested Devil's Hideout for Cosmic Void, and that's a spooky game and an adventure game. How thematic of me.
Wow.
I'm really interested in that game. I think they gave me a key, and like, this is not a slight to any devs out there. I ignore a lot of my stuff because I'm like so overwhelmed all the time. But don't think for a second that I don't appreciate like keys and stuff like that. I just am stressed. So I'm very interested
to review it. You need to send a physical key.
You do. It worked for Paul. He sent me a physical key, and it was like the best thing I've ever seen in my life, because as an adventure gamer, I like keys. I see what? It's a joke. Dare you?
I mean, my whole I there is something about being an adventure gamer. Like now, when if I see like a skeleton key somewhere, I am immediately drawn to it.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want me to review your game, you better fucking butter me up, because I don't know, Paul, I don't know if you knew this, but I'm an artist. And I just got a lot of creative stuff that I'm working on,
I
just
don't
want to let
nobody
people know.
sends me keys. I don't get any keys. Nobody sends
want
me
some?
keys.
Are you talking about physical keys, or now I don't know what we're
Both.
talking about?
Nobody gives me any keys of any kind. I'm trying
Somebody
to
get
get
this
in.
man-
I want to play games. I want to go in houses. And I can't do either.
Paul, will you please send this man a key so he stops griping?
Send me a key to your apartment.
No, okay.
It's going to come with a little note that says only works on garage door.
No, what did you think of Devil's Hideout? I've played some of the that's a Cosmic Void game, right?
Yes, yeah. And Cosmic's awesome. He beta tested my game, so he's like, "Well, you beta test my game, the other my." It's all very third persony. But I was like, well, clearly I have to. You know that. I don't get to say no. You're in the middle of testing mine. Well played, you bastard. No, he's also. I say this as a friend. I love Cosmic. He's. I don't know if he wants me to say his real name, so I'll just keep saying Cosmic. But the game is funny. No, it's not funny actually at all. It's terrifying.
Oh no,
it's not supposed to be funny. So that's a good,
here's the thing. I'm a spooky gal. I like spooky things. I like horror things, but I don't know if I like being flat out scared. So on the level of, spooky to like absolutely terrifying, where would you place this game?
Right. See, I feel you on that. I like Jeepers, spooky, not like scary. It has a lot of jump scares. At one point, I jumped, sneezed, and peed a little, all at the same time.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Get a handle on yourself, man.
I don't. Nobody tells this as an adult. I don't understand bladder management.
Just like
I can't leave the house ever. Like I always have to pee everywhere I go. I don't know how people do it. I feel like people should just be urinating all the time.
Man, that's what happens when you need to stay hydrated. This is adulthood.
Exactly. It's like one or the other. I'm either going to be hydrated or just peeing 3 times through one Walmart trip. It's absurd. But no, to answer your question, it's quite scary. It's got a lot of jump scares, and then the ambiance, like the overall mood, has got a lot of dread and mystery and it's good. I had a lot of fun with it. It's a perfect spooky, and it's like it's breezy in a sense too, not like in a lighthearted way, but in like 3 hours, like a perfect like spooky Halloween night kind of game.
Oh, I like that. I like hearing that. I am in my later adulthood, and I don't need an 8-hour game. I just don't. I'm sorry.
Too
many.
I've liked a lot of Cosmic Void scale. Like I really liked Corruption Within. One of I guess his earlier games, right? And then maybe his first like big release was Corruption Within. Because he did the Tachyon Dreams game. Anyway.
I'm familiar with
Blood
this
Nova I talked about on the show. I liked it pretty good. Enough that I want to get around to playing all his other games. I actually didn't know it was one guy. I didn't know Cosmic Void was a person. So, but interesting. Yeah, that's cool. I'm
looking forward to looking into it. I definitely have a soft spot for those kind of eerie, ambient, like very tense games. Even though I live alone, and I will think that a serial killer is out to get me while I play this game. That's just the nature of it.
That's fair. No, I turned a light on when your theme music came on today.
There are so few serial killers that like you have to think like, oh, even if I do get killed, I'm probably never going to get killed by a serial killer.
No, it's
if
gonna be
I
something
do,
stupid.
That's going to be cool.
Right. You just, if you find yourself being murdered by a serial killer, just be like, I probably had this coming because the odds were astronomical.
yeah, exactly. There was almost zero chance I was going to get killed by a serial killer, and here I am. Look at me
So
now,
lucky.
Ma. Well, don't, because my intestines are across my face and it'd be upsetting, but like figuratively look at me now, Ma.
Figuratively look at me.
Mhm.
Matt, what have you been playing?
You know what? Why don't we? I have not
Oh boy.
been playing. I've not been playing that much outside of. Why don't we do this early? Throw the theme song on.
All right, here we go.
PlayDate with Matt.
Hey everybody, it's Playdate with Matt, a segment inside our podcast where I talk about my awesome little Playdate and the games I play on it. And I've been playing actually a lot on my Playdate recently. So I'll talk about 3 games real quick.
Paul, do you have
Yes.
a Playdate? Are you familiar with the Playdate?
Okay, so it's not a person. No, I don't.
It is not.
Me and my Playdate, we usually hang out.
I was like, okay,
we'll
Matt
play
is
Leisure Suit
adorable.
Larry. No, Playdate is like this. So I'll explain it. I've explained it on the show before. A listener bought it for me. It is a small little, it's a little yellow device. It's about 2 inches by 2 inches, and it resembles like a Game Boy Micro, and it has it's a one bit screen, just black and white, and it has the D-pad and a B and an A, but it also has a crank on it.
Oh, what a twist!
Yeah. And these people, they were really smart. They went out and got a bunch of like really interesting game developers and itch.io game developers to just like make a bunch of really cool games designed around this premise. It's also got things like it's got a what is the thing when you tilt an electronic
Gyroscope?
device and it knows you tilted it? Yeah, I guess so.
Gyroscope, yeah.
And it's got Wi-Fi, so it is like a modern little console, even though it looks really old-fashioned. But yeah, so I played a couple games on it. The first game that I played was really promising, but very disappointing.
Okay.
It was a game called The Heist of the Argonaut Limited, and it's a very cool premise. It is basically like a little D&D adventure that somebody wrote. Basically like a little D&D module. You can pick one of 3 characters. You can be like a burglar or a bard or a brute. So strength or dexterity or person, like charisma.
That's really
right?
interesting. When you say the titles of the Playdate games, I usually look them up. I usually Google image search them just so I can give a little commentary. There is not a lot of images that come up for this game, so I only really see the title screen, which is like a train. So it looks like very like to me, like, is this Murder on the Orient Express? Is that because that's cool, right?
I think that's got to be an influence, and the game is largely text.
Okay.
And because it's based off like it's sort of like D&D based, so you'll be playing through like a text scene, and there'll be sometimes images come up, and really well illustrated images to show you like a new character or a new location or something. But mostly it's text, and then at the end of the text you'll have an option of things you want to do. Like it'll tell you you're alone in a room and there's some papers on the table and a box on the floor, and if you have lockpicking skills, you can roll a lockpick check or a dexterity check or whatever to see if you can break into the box.
Okay.
If you want to read the papers and try to interpret them really fast before the guy comes in, you can do an intelligence check and try to read the papers, and then you turn the crank and it rolls a die, like a D20, and you succeed or fail, and then the game the story proceeds from there, sort of like a Disco Elysium or something. Like just throughout the game there's options and difficulty checks, and you sometimes die when you fail them, but not always. Oftentimes either creates more challenges in the game or does something funny.
Yeah.
So basically, you are playing one of 3 characters, and you are trying to steal some cargo from a train. It's the heist of the Argonaut Limited. And so you have to get aboard the train, you have to meet the other passengers, and as you hit every step of the journey, it like a heist movie, it'll flash back to the moment
Cool.
you were planning the heist.
Very cool.
So like, you know, like there was a time where I snuck into the engine room and it flashed back to the guy, the boss, saying, under no circumstances should you ever go into the engine room. And then goes on about how you were dozing off and not paying attention during that moment. Very cleverly written, very smart. Here's the problem. It kept crashing. I'd never
no.
seen the Playdate crash at any point. Like, I didn't even know it was capable of crashing. And it seemed like maybe 1 out of every 15 choices I would make, it would crash. And then I'd go back in, and it was linked to that choice, right? Like, if I chose a different path, if I did something else, I could get around the crash. But I could then never do that action. There was like some characters I couldn't talk to, because if I talked to them, it crashed.
So it's very buggy.
Very, very buggy, which is a bummer, because
that is a bummer.
The maybe half hour I played was incredible. Like, I really loved it.
When you have to use the crank, is it often like, this is the part of the game they were like, oh yeah, we didn't use the crank thing yet, so we'll use it here? Or is it integrated pretty well?
You know, some games it's totally built in. Like in this, it was kind of cool to use the crank to roll the dice. There's some games that are totally like fully built around the crank. It's actually a pretty viral game called Root Bear, where there is a bear sitting by a bar, and he keeps giving you empty beer glasses and shot glasses, just like drink glasses, and you use the crank to try and fill them up to exactly the line. And if you go just under, he's like a little disappointed, or even just over, he's a little disappointed. If you get it right, he is ecstatic. And if you spill, if you like go over the whole glass and you spill, he loses his mind. That game is
Why is that hilarious to
that
me?
game's so fucking funny. It's called Root Bear. It's not an adventure game, but it's worth playing. But yeah, then there's other games where I've played games where the only thing you use the crank for is to like cycle your inventory, and you're like, well, you could have probably just had me use the D-pad.
That's kind of cute still. I do kind of like using the crank to go through like an inventory bag, but yeah,
it's fun to use. So I got 2 other games to get through, so I'll try to go quick here. Post Hero is a game I just played. It was fantastic. It's a game where you are a postman, and you have to deliver a bunch of letters.
This looks cute as hell.
It's very cute. You're basically going through your day as a postman trying to deliver letters, and every place that you have to deliver a letter to, there's some obstacle. There's like a girl sitting on the steps and she won't move until she gets an autograph from her favorite celebrity.
That's flat out an adventure game.
Or there's a guy who he has termites in his house, and he doesn't want to talk about anything but the termites. And then you find that the like extermination van is several screens away, and it's stuck because there's something in the road.
This is great.
So,
it's Paperboy with adventure game logic.
Yes, it is, and it's really cute. It's kind of funny. I've played funnier games, but there's definitely a humor to it. And it's got a Sierra style score chase.
I love a score.
So when you do something, or when you discover something, or you solve a puzzle, or you pick up an inventory item, your score goes up, and that's fun. So that was that. I mean, I cannot recommend Post Hero enough. This is by far my favorite adventure game I have yet played on the Playdate.
It looks great. It looks really cute.
It's very good. It took me about, I want to say an hour and a half to play the whole thing, maybe a little longer. and I got stuck a couple times, but mostly it sort of, breezed by. I had so much fun. It was like the sort of game where I was like, I do this with a lot of Playdate games. Like I'll sit down and play it for 15 minutes and then I'll move on with my day. And then I just sat there and played till I was done.
That's a good sign.
My biggest criticism of Post Hero is a lot of the score is tied to advertisements of other games, which is, I guess, is like these are all indie games. And there's like probably a strong community between the developers, but it was like, you see something weird, you see like a cat in a window and you go look at the cat, and he says a little thing, like a little adventure gamey quip about looking at the cat, and then an advertisement comes up for a game called like Cat. You know what I mean? Like, and that was pretty much like that happened 30 times right throughout the game, and it wasn't horrible, but it was like a little annoying because it was like, if I want to get all the scores, I have to look at everything, and I know some of it's not going to be interesting. It's just going to be an advertisement pops up. So if I had my druthers, that would be entirely just deleted from the game. But beyond that, it was perfect.
It's like it's like an insight into an alternate timeline where adventure games stayed like the AAA genre of game, and like like EA Sports is making adventure games, and like every look interact is like some sort of built-in ad or you buy DLC.
I mean, Sierra eventually would have done like, you have to have a microtransaction to get the hammer.
Right, exactly.
The last game I'll talk about is a game called Bloom. Now, this one's kind of expensive. It was like $10. And another game very promising at the start. You're a girl who has just dropped out of college to start a flower shop. And you use the crank to take the elevator between your apartment and the roof where you plant flowers. And the planting flowers is just like a farming sim, right? You plant a flower, you water it, and then in real time, so you can close the game and come back to it. In real time, after a certain amount of time, the flowers will grow. You dig them up, you sell them for money, and then you can afford nicer flowers to plant. Right. And then, and there's other things like every time you pay rent, this is pretty unrealistic if you ask me. Every time you pay rent, your landlord improves the roof so you can plant more.
Yeah, right.
I've never paid rent, and my landlord was like, hey, you know what? I'm going to improve your apartment.
I can't even get my front gate fixed at this point.
But the narrative really comes in through anytime you're in your apartment, you get text messages on your phone, and there's a whole narrative that runs through about your parents don't know you dropped out of college. You have a girlfriend who's very supportive, and you have like friendships that, and again, it's supposed to happen in real time. So they're like, hey, what are you up to today? The story's not that compelling, at least not so far. I'm a couple days in now. And there's no choice. You usually have two different choices between what you can respond with, and they're basically the same thing every time.
Mm-hmm.
So that can get a little frustrating. You don't see any of the interactions in the apartment. Like you'll get a text where your girlfriend is like, I'm coming over now. And you and her, then you like the apartment is still empty. And then several hours later, you get a text that was like, that was fun. And it's just like,
that reminds me of like Emily is Away, where the whole premise is really like told via instant messages, IMs, and you don't see any interactions. You just know that they happened.
The game just gaslights you into thinking it happened.
It didn't actually happen.
I've played interesting games like this before, or like that before, like Simulacrum, for example, where it tells a mystery, like you find somebody's phone, and then by digging right? Have you guys ever played the Simulacrum games?
No.
Yeah, by basically digging through this stranger's phone is where you start to discover like what happened to this person.
Mhm.
Like I think there's a game called Tender that you play on your actual phone that is basically like a fake dating app, and you can choose who to go on dates with, and that game is great. We should talk about that sometime.
Yeah.
Roses, you should play that.
I actually really like dating sims.
It's a really good one because you get like notifications on your phone like, oh, you just got a message from this guy you swiped on, or this, well, aliens, they're all aliens.
Oh, you
Anyway,
failed to mention it was an alien dating sim.
we are I'm getting well off topic. What I'm saying is I think there is compelling storytelling that you can do with that sort of format, and I just don't know that there's enough there
Sure.
in this game. And I do think there's like I love the idea of having a farming sim and a life sim on the PlayDate, and that stuff is well done. But again, for $10, I think I expected maybe a little more gameplay.
It was somewhere around swiping right on aliens that Matt realized he had gotten off topic.
So those are my 3 Playdate games for this week: Heist of the Argonaut, Limited, Post Hero, and Bloom. And
Nice.
I think they all have their merit, but the only one that I can recommend just like full-throatedly is Post Hero.
Fair enough. Shall I close out this segment?
Yes,
Or are you sure you don't have more to say about alien dating?
I do, but we'll have to do it on another
right, closing the-
episode.
closing the
'cause it's not
segment.
on the Playdate.
Playdate with Matt.
Man, that does not get old to me. I love that. I love that jam.
What have you been playing, Roses?
I have. This is so embarrassing. I have only been playing Fields of Mistria. That's the only game I've been playing. So the last time we recorded, if you recall, I hadn't even gotten through the first week. Like I was very new to it. I am now. I finished the first year. I finished all the gameplay. This is an early access game. I finished all of it. I cannot do anything else. And now I'm just waiting patiently for updates and for the game to continue. And now I'm sad. Now I'm sad that I started it and then I can't do anything else. Like I can
Yeah.
it's it's a farming sim, so I can farm to my little heart's desire.
Yes.
But that means nothing to me unless there is a story. Unless there's like a greater goal. Like
Now,
I don't like farming just to farm, you know?
I hear you. And have you gotten to the second year?
Yes. Yeah,
Do
yeah, I
new
did.
Do new crops open up or anything like in Stardew?
I haven't checked. I just started the second year.
Oh,
like
okay,
I'm on like day 2. I'm trying to like clean up my farm and like get my animals in order, make sure they're okay.
Yeah.
So I actually haven't been to the general store yet. And I'm gonna say, when I play these types of games, farming is my least priority. I want to go adventuring in the mines. I want to romance every single character. I want to be friends with that one guy's chicken. That's what I want to do. So I don't really pay attention to the crop. I only do it to donate the crops to the museum. So I do what I got to do. I do bare minimum farming. And then I'm in the mines.
One thing that I have discovered in that game is I've ended up with just so much money. Like
same.
Just from farming for in the first year. I have more money than I know what to do with. And to me, like that's a bad video game economy, right? Because now I'm like I have nothing to strive for.
Yeah. And now doubly, I'm like rich in game and I did all the gameplay. So I'm like trying to find things to do. I'm like, I don't know, I'll decorate my house. And again, that's not, I don't like that either. I'm not even very good at The Sims because I don't like decorating things. It's just so tedious.
Mm-hmm. I think there's something to be said about. I wonder if the that economy is intentional. Now that I'm second guessing it, right? Because so many farming games are about the crushing weight of capitalism, right?
Yeah.
They're about how you are never going to fully dig it. Either it's going to take immeasurable effort, or you will never fully dig out of capitalism, like the capitalist sinkhole. And this game is not like that. I've rarely, if ever, been struggling to afford the next thing. And I wonder if, like, it just makes me wonder what they're trying to achieve. And if what they're trying to achieve is that sort of life sim slowly upgrading, struggling against capitalism thing that Stardew or Harvest Moon or even Animal Crossing are doing, then I think they've made a mistake by giving you too much money. But if when it fully gets, because it's still in early access, so if when the full thing gets released, we find out that there are deeper themes that allow for this abundant economy, then maybe it's intentional, but who knows?
And who fucking cares? I just want the romance option. Just want the one guy to like me.
Yeah, well, isn't that what we all want?
That's
just
what we
one
all
guy
want,
to like us.
Yeah, you guys want that too. You just want that one guy to like you.
I just want one guy to like me.
Yeah, I hear it.
And for him not to be afraid to say it.
Like me, guy.
The guy. Anyway, that's what I've been playing.
Awesome.
That's all I've been playing, and I've been enjoying my time with it.
I'm so glad.
Yeah.
So, Paul.
Yes, sir.
We start talking about, what are we talking about today, Roses?
King's Quest IV: The Perils of Rosella.
So before we start talking about King's Quest IV, Paul, tell us about Phantom Fellows a little bit.
Well, you promised that you wouldn't bring this up during the episode, and frankly, I can't believe it. I didn't know this was going to be a hack job. Unbelievable.
Is it not true that you did or did not
what the heck?
Release Phantom Fellows to murder some? I don't fucking know.
Unclear.
I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do a gotcha. What? I can't just improvise a gotcha.
We don't do
too deep into the bit.
No, we don't do gotcha interviews here on Save Your Game.
We do it on our we do it on our politics podcast, Save the Country.
Save the Country, yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah. Tell us about your game.
All right, jeez.
Holy shit!
Why is everyone asking me about this week? God. So look, it's a good time, and you're gonna want to get it put in you. Get it put in.
That's what she said.
It's the world's first game that you install into your body and you play in your mind.
Oh shit, that sounds amazing.
Oh yeah, that was poetic, actually. How awesome that was. That was a neat sentence, honestly.
Yeah.
So okay, all right. What's my fallback emergency? Put a persona on Paul. It's about two best friends. See, that just feels inauthentic, doesn't it? Okay.
I don't think it does. I like best friend buddy things.
It's like
there you go. It's a buddy thing.
It is a little bit. It actually is a little bit.
But is there something interesting about one of the two friends?
Unclear. Yeah, I don't.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. At one point, I decided to be just difficult for the sake of difficulty. I'm so sorry. Let me pull my shit together. It's. I'm like, we're just gonna fight this the whole way for no reason against your better judgment. Convince them not to buy it. Okay.
Hey, means it's nothing to us if you don't want people to buy your game. Like, if you don't want it, I'm not gonna argue with you. I will
I'll
tell
argue.
people like, oh yeah, go buy the game. It seems really cool. The demo is cool. But
Yeah,
if
I love
you
the
don't want
demo.
them to buy it, I'm not gonna say. I'm not gonna just be like, "Fuck you, you're wrong." It's your game.
I've given you no tools to even work on in that regard too. Where it's just like, I don't know. He just said unclear 3 times. I'm not sure. I don't know what he wants me to do with that.
Unclear.
Okay, yeah. Why don't we start from the beginning? Is it a game?
Yes, it's
Oh, cool.
You know, it's funny you should
good.
ask, Matt. It is a game. It's an adventure sort. Okay, all right, for real. It's a point and click pixel art adventure game. It's a comedy. I'm often reminded I need to tell people that because it doesn't look like one, right? It looks there's you're dealing with like death and this and that, but it's mostly a comedy. It's hopefully more than a comedy, right? Because I think when things are just like too jokey all the time, there's no substance. Substance. You know, it's like yeah, there you go. Thank you. I was adding an extra syllable for some reason, but it's yeah. Hopefully, it goes a little deeper than that because I feel like too jokey is like or too relentlessly jokey. It can almost feel like too much dessert, and then all of a sudden your body's like, I need some like protein or whatever, some nutrients. I keep going back to weird food substance related things. Anyway,
you said sustenance, and now all you can think
now
about
it's
is
just
food.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, and Rose's bread candle and the pizza, and it's just
I
man, I should have
know.
eaten first. Is basically.
We're so hungry.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, it's a comedy. It's a point and click adventure. It's about 2 best friends who start a paranormal investigation business together because one of them's already dead. So he's got a little,
Whoa!
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Awesome. Got an apparitional ace up his sleeve. And this game was basically it was like a wish list of mine where I'm like obsessed with adventure games to an unhealthy degree. And I was like, I want to make a game that's like, what do I want to play? As opposed to like, I have a story to tell. This is my story. It was less that and more. I don't know why I'm mocking that. It's a terrible thing to mock because it's like all the good stories. But anyway, I put together this wish list of like, I like when you can switch characters and like one has an ability, the other doesn't. But I don't want to switch between too many characters because that's really overwhelming. Right.
Yeah.
Like Maniac Mansion, stuff like that, where it's just like, I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. Walk away. So it's just the 2 characters. There's like a fast travel map because growing up on Sierra games, it sounds silly, but I always felt like those games were like big open worlds, like being able to travel around and like, whether it was in Space Quest going around the galaxy or Indiana Jones around the world or Police Quest going through like Lytton or Lighton or whatever.
I felt that way about King's Quest 1. That felt
right.
Very open world to me when I first played it.
See, and I appreciate the backup because it feels oddly brave to say that because because they fit on like 2 floppy disks. So of course it sounds brave to say a big giant open world, but because of that, I gave the game like a fast travel map, and that's the thing I'm probably the most proud of, which is why I'm bum rushing it out now in case I just bail on the rest of this. To say that you can go back to all previous locations as the game like opens up, so you can always just like go back, and that's where there's like alternate puzzle solutions or just like fresh bits and gags and stuff like that.
That's
and
great.
Yeah, it makes you feel like a big open world, and I handled it in that way where I was like, okay, I'm not good at this, but thanks guys for getting me through it. I wanted
You're
to.
Doing great.
Thanks, man. I should have had a sip of water first. I'm so dry mouth. I handled it in the sense where most of the alternate puzzle solutions are like outside the map, so that way the player knows that like you don't have to travel. It's just if you want to, because again, I don't want it to be like overwhelming feeling. Like now there's this whole world and I don't know where the hammer is. So it's like you don't have to leave, but if you want to, you can. And there's just like the game tries to reward exploration. That's probably the best shine I could put on this little pitch right now. Is if you grew up playing games where you like clicked look at and interact for like everything, or maybe you finished the game first and then went back and did it, whatever, that's needlessly pedantic. It's kind of like for the adventure gamer who isn't trying to get to the destination, who's really like all about the journey and just, getting your exploration rewarded. And so therefore everything's a hotspot. There's a unique look and interact line for Engelbert and Oliver, the 2 main characters. Sorry, the audience doesn't have context.
It's all good.
Which just too many lines that I had to write. That's why it took so damn long. But hopefully they make you laugh. Like I've overthought every damn line in the game. So it's like I'm trying not to waste anybody's time. Like, everybody should know when they're playing it that a ton of care went into this, and it has overarching stories because even though it is a case by case basis, this game, like, it takes place over 7 days. Each day is a case. And then there's an overarching story that kind of brews in the background very subtly and then comes to a head in the final day. And again, for sustenance, you need some sort of, something to tie it all together, to weave it together. Yeah.
I love that. I find as I get a little older and my tastes in gaming have changed, I really like it when there's a cap on things. So like I played Strange Horticulture not long ago, and that does conclude in 16 days. And I'm like, perfect. Like I don't know. I like things to have a button on it these days.
Right.
And like I appreciate, for personally, because I dabbled in writing myself, I appreciate like really concise, terse things that like you said, that don't waste your time. I can say Matt probably agrees that we have played adventure games that it's like, man, I'm tired of this. Or we did an episode on dialogue trees.
Yes.
Where we discussed things that just went on for far too long, and then you lose interest.
Right, exactly. And sometimes, especially when it comes to descriptive or like flavor text, like looking around a room, like a lot of times it gets really phoned in really quickly, where it's like, that's a flower in a thing, and it's like, well, I know that. I saw that it was a flower. Like, do something with it. Which is maybe easier to do in a comedy, because at least you have like an immediate direction, which is try to make them laugh. But I do other things too, where like, okay, so Engelbert is the ghost, Engelbert Picklebender. He comes from a long line of picklebenders, and his prime was like in the gold rush.
Peyronie's disease to me. Sorry, I'm so sorry.
There was an enhancement.
Why is Matt even here? Please do go on, Paul.
I want to let the rest of the audience finish Googling that, and then we'll. Okay, right. So he's in the gold rush. Speaking of writing, I made it so Engelbert spent a little time constructing the Brooklyn Bridge and a little time like in the California gold rush. That way he's got like experience in like early city life, but also experience like on the frontier. Just to make it more fun and interesting to kind of write for. Where was I going with this? Oh yeah. No, it's cool. I got it. Doing a little whisper huddle to you guys live.
I'm glad you're letting us in on your process, on your process of how to talk.
Just, words are hard. There's too many of them.
Yeah, why did they do that?
I don't know. Okay, before I seriously answer that. Okay. Engelbert will also sometimes as a break from jokes, let's say, he'll give like some random kind of fun facts just because he was around for the last like 180 years. So like, I'm trying to think of an example. At one point, Oliver's just like, hey, did you have jumping jacks when you were a kid? And Engelbert's like, no, they didn't come around until 1910 and they were invented by so-and-so. Past Paul knows it's in the game, but I forgot. There's a weird third person reference to myself. I'm so sorry. It's off-putting when people do that, and now I just did that.
I do that all the time, so you're good.
So he'll give you like fun facts, but he'll also do like these kind of philosophical musings or whatever, because I like philosophy and psychology. I'm really fascinated by it, and I figure a ghost, is in a really good position to understand the meaning of life, let's say, in hindsight, because it's easy to understand shit in hindsight.
Right.
So he's kind of there to like mentor Oliver, and I guess what I'm saying is like that's where the sustenance comes. I'm still very unconfident that I'm saying that right, and I'm sure everybody can tell, but whatever. That's where that sustenance comes in. Is through like the mentorship and yeah. Phew.
That's awesome. I just want to say I love a friendly ghost story. I love the idea that ghosts are just like these manifestations of our previous life and are friendly and are not around to scare the living. And I think it's like a lot of spooky people like me, it's our dream to like see a ghost and befriend a ghost. And now I can live that way vicariously through your game.
Oh, you're so much better at this than me. I should have had Roses pitch the game instead.
I do some game reviews. I don't know if you knew.
In keeping with spooky season, would you say the game is spooky? Is it a horror game or simply a comedy game? Like what are people going to be scared?
Right. I guess it's definitely like spoopy with a P, with two P's.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like the atmosphere is pretty spooky. Like the art and the music kind of go together. And then and that's kind of it. The rest of it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, okay. I guess like the considering it is dealing with the subject of death the whole game, you could maybe say that's spooky. But you know what I mean? It's not like handled in that sort of like heavy way. I mean, there are like deeper moments where like. Each day is a case, and so the case will vary like what the ghost wants, like the ghost they were called out to deal with. And like one of the ghosts, he's just like pranky. He's the reason for hauntings kind of ghost, where he just likes to kind of fuck with people because he's invisible, to which fair enough. I mean, it sounds like a good time. And then other ghosts want to be reunited with an item or get closure on a certain thing, say goodbye to a loved one. So yeah, I guess none of that sounds scary. That just sounds sad.
I think that sounds comforting, actually. That's kind of how I felt when I was playing. I felt that it was more, you're right, like the art and the music that gives that spoopy vibe, because we are dealing with ghosts here, but the content itself, I think, is very comforting in a way.
Ooh. Thank you, man. You are really good at this. Thank
you.
I was totally going for yeah, like if not funny, then maybe, dare I say, almost cozy, like it's just a nice thing. You're helping things find closure and like a sense of fulfillment is what I hope people get.
That actually really ties into the game that we are talking about today, because there is a sequence in the game that we just played that is exactly that. Now, is there, so before we jump over, is there anything else you wanted to say about Phantom Fellows? Release date September 27th.
Listeners just heard me do a audible panic in my gasp there.
I think they're getting used to it very quickly.
God, thank God. Okay.
Yeah, anything else you want to say?
It comes out Friday the 27th, possibly a Friday or two ago when you're hearing this. It's available on GOG and Steam and Itch and Fireflower. Spent 4 years on it, solo dev. I did all the things. I definitely poured like my heart and soul into this, and my hope. Okay, here's a nice way to put it. I've had the best 4 years of my life making this game, and I feel like people will be able to tell when they play it. Like, this guy was in a good place. He's having fun.
That's really awesome.
That's
really nice to hear.
Like, I love that about art. I'm so inspired right now.
Shut
up, Matt.
You've inspired roses. you did it.
Man, I pulled out of a nosedive on that. It was just miraculous.
Well, do we want to put on
Swanks?
Tranky Test of Free Nose and
man, we need a new song.
We can talk about King's Quest IV: The Perils of Rosella. Hey everybody, welcome back to Save Your Game. I'm Matt. This is Roses. That's Paul. How you guys? How was your little break?
I should have peed.
Oh,
no! We told you to go before the podcast started. Gosh.
Yeah, now you can't. Now you can't for the rest of the show.
Yeah.
We will turn this pod around.
So, guys, do you want to talk to me about the video game King's Quest IV: The Perils of Rosella by Sierra Online, released in I don't know offhand.
I think it's 89.
Oh, wow, that early. I was going to say 90.
Right?
I think I was going to say 90, 91, but 89.
No, 91 was King's
right.
Quest V. 92, 93 was King's Quest VI. That's right. I'm a Sierra person.
What are both of your histories with this game?
My first King's Quest game was actually King's Quest III. Started on that. And then immediately, like later on, I had gotten a CD-ROM with Sound Blaster from my aunt. It came with King's Quest V. I had played essentially all of the King's Quests, except King's Quest IV. I don't know why. I don't know how it happened. It just did. And then later in life, I would say my maybe late teens, I played King's Quest IV, and I've played it several times since then. I've streamed it. I've done a review on it. I think it is a very underrated King's Quest game. It is an innovator. It's an innovator. It was the first Sierra game to have the Roland MT32 do the sound. And there's not a lot of music in Perils of Rosella, but the music that there is very, very beautiful.
It's good. It doesn't sound like it doesn't sound like your computer is like grinding itself against itself to make the music.
Yeah, no, it's very, very beautiful. And even if you're not didn't have like the Roland music, the ad lib is also very beautiful. And it also made use of dithering very well, which is an artistic style. It's combining pixels to create gradients on your screen. It's very beautiful. And also, it's a little more serious than the other King's Quest games. It's a little, the premise is that your dad is dying, man. King Graham had a heart attack. Everyone is sad. This is the most depressing intro to the King's Quest game ever.
Yeah, that's how the game starts, is you're gathered around King Graham's bed and he's dying.
He's dying. Yeah, he's a heart attack. And, Rosella's beside herself, but in the magic mirror, she gets a message from the fairy Genesta that Genesta can help her. She can help her heal her dad if she travels to the land of Tamir? Is it Tamir?
Yes, Tamir. It's Tamir.
Yeah. So she goes, and Genesta does a little gaslighting. She's like, yeah, I got you here now. I can't send you back.
I'm also dying.
I'm also dying. So, listen, I brought you here. I may not be able to get you back. You got to find the fruit for your dad, and you got to take care of this villain, Violett, for me. And then maybe everything will be great. So the stakes are high, man. The stakes are very high in this game.
I'm so glad you guys both immediately tuned into that, because I have a note here where it's like, so Genesta was being a little manipulative, sneaking that talisman thing in there, right? Because that has nothing to do with the flower.
To me, that's what this game is about. It is about one woman just being manipulated by everybody she runs into. Like everybody has like an agenda when they encounter Rosella and they try to get her to do other shit, and usually they're lying about the shit that they want her to do.
Yeah. For Rosella, this is also one of the most all the King's Quest games are very inspired by fairy tale and folklore, but when I played this game, I really felt that it was maybe the most inspired by fairy tale, nursery rhyme, folklore. It felt like I was in, I don't know, it felt like I was in a fairy tale. It felt like I was in Princess and the Frog or something. There's even a frog element to this game.
There is a Princess and directly like Princess and the Frog is in this game.
Yeah, and it's just very lush and very beautiful. It really feels like a whimsical forest, the setting of Tamir, from a fairy tale. If you can like imagine that kind of forest, that's where you are.
Right. When did you first play this game, Paul?
Similar to Roses, I didn't play it growing up.
Yeah.
I think growing up we only really played King's Quest V is the only thing I can remember. We played like a ton of Space Quests and all the other quests to spare everybody some time. Not You Glory, not that one either, but the other ones and Larry. But anyway, sorry, that was everything but the question you asked.
You're really good at that. That's like your number one skill.
Just duck and weave. I didn't play this until just a couple of years ago, and this game for me was almost like proof in a sense that Sierra games specifically don't need nostalgia to be really, really good. Like to really actually grip me. Because when this game switched to night, somehow, first of all, it wasn't spoiled for me, which I still is kind of miraculous considering it was only a few years ago. But I had no idea that shift was coming. And when it happened, I was just like, I was grabbing my kid, like, did you see that? Did you see that? And he's like, please stop. And I was like just so taken away and like emotionally invested and just like having a ball. I was like, this is so much fun. And now it's nighttime and now there's zombies and now there's ghosts. And like, I didn't know that whole tonal shift was coming.
Mhm.
And it was just because I had no nostalgia for the game. Dare I say, really, of all the Sierra series, this was the one I don't really have nostalgia for, period, the King's Quest series. So it only made the case even stronger that I was like, this is like a good game. Like there's some bullshit puzzle design, of course, because Roberta, but all that aside, like it was just like a really good time. And the question was, so recently would be the long short of it. Recently. Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that you thought it still stands as a pretty good game despite not growing up on it, because I like King's Quest V and I know it's because I grew up on it. I know I can see the problems. Trust me. Listen, you know what? That's a conversation for a different day. But I'm just saying I'm aware of my nostalgic
right.
tie to that game. Whereas I think Perils of Rosella is a really strong title that does a lot of different things than the other. And I don't know if you guys agree with me. I think the puzzles are better than the previous King's. I'm not saying they're perfect. There is no such thing as a perfect puzzle game. Somebody's going to have a problem with a puzzle at some point. But I didn't think they were bad. I think a lot of the puzzles made sense, just compared to other King's Quest games.
No, 100%. Like the shovel breaking is bullshit, but the shovel puzzle is pretty good. And like shooting the unicorn with the cupids, like that actually makes sense.
That yeah.
Well, but though there are some real bullshit puzzles in here too. Like there's a moment where you there's the same sort of Sierra bullshit, right? Like you get eaten by a whale if you haven't yet swam to an island to get a peacock feather. You're stuck in the whale forever, and you're just that's the game for you.
Oh, I've never done that out of order, so I guess I didn't.
Well, the whale can eat you while you're swimming to the island.
Yeah. Okay. I've never had that happen. I've never had that. That's so wild.
It did not happen
hear.
to me the first time I played. So I also played this game later. I only played this game a few years ago. I've talked about on the show before about how, like 3 years ago or something, I just sat and played all the Sierra games in like a couple of months. Maybe it was 2019 that happened. Maybe it was 5. But anyway, and Perils of Rosella was. To me, it was like the breeziest one. It was a game. Yeah. It was the first one I was like, I love this. I really enjoy this one.
Yeah.
And I don't feel that annoyed by it. Even the stuff that I had to go back for.
Yeah.
So after the whale spits you out, you end up on an island.
Mm-hmm.
And on that island is a bridle.
Oh,
is it a
God,
golden bridle?
Puzzle.
Right? It's a golden bridle, right?
It's a bridle of some magic design,
some magic bridle that you use to tame the unicorn. And am I right, you can't get back to this island once you leave it?
I believe that's correct. I don't think you can return.
Right,
so in a ruined boat on the island, you have to walk into the corner and look at the ground, and then she'll mention the bridle, and you have to pick up the bridle. You can't see it. You can't see it at all. And if you don't do that, you've lost, right? You can't continue with the game. There's also like to get the frog always runs away. Mm-hmm. Every time you walk onto the screen, you end up having to kiss the frog so that you get his crown, so that you can wear it, so that you can turn into a frog.
Yeah.
So that you can swim up a waterfall. But the way that you attract the frog is you find a golden ball, which also is very hard to get.
I did not think it was, but go. I want to hear your experience. Go on.
If you walk anywhere to if you look under the bridge from any direction besides being like 3 pixels in front of the ball, you can't get the ball. She tells you there's nothing under the bridge.
Okay.
But anyway, so you just drop the ball in the pond, and for some reason the frog brings you the ball, and then you grab him. So I guess in that way you are turning the
that's
table
from
as
the
you're
fairy
moving.
tale.
In the
That's
fairy
ex-
tale, you give a frog a
You
golden
drop-
ball?
Yes, the prince. Have you ever seen Shelley Duvall's Fairy Tale Theater?
No.
So Robin Williams is in the Princess and the Frog version
Okay.
of that one. And the story goes that the princess, who's very vain, very shallow, she drops this like golden trinket, a golden ball, into a fountain, into some water. And the frog, who is a prince, wants to help her, so he retrieves the trinket for her, the golden ball. So
Interesting.
I knew to do that right away. I knew I had gotten a golden ball. I saw the frog and I plopped it into the water. It made total sense to me. That's kind
did
of why I
not
was that's why I was
remember
saying
that
this
from that.
one's very fairy tale based.
Well, yeah, and a lot of the like Genesta and Lalat are so that's the good fairy and the bad fairy.
Yes.
They are both from Andrew and Nora Lang's fairy books, which is a series of fairy tales of maybe slightly dubious provenance. It's unclear what their sources were and whether they made some of them up. But both those fairies are from those books from like the late 1800s, early 1900s.
So like I slightly disagree with you on the difficulty of the gold, but I also know that not everyone is a freak like me and like loves fairy tale content.
And are we all agreed on the absolute worst puzzle in the whole game?
Climbing the tongue.
Yeah, climbing the tongue and climbing the stairs are horrible.
Yeah.
Like that's just the worst in every Sierra game. Stairs are awful. But I'm talking about just like straight up puzzles.
Oh, okay.
What is the worst puzzle in the game?
The bridle.
Okay, you think it's the bridle, Paul? How about you?
Mm-hmm.
I'm struggling with this because I had the fact that the whistle is hidden in the boat as you covered, but that's not really, I guess, a puzzle. I mean, it's part of a larger puzzle. The whistle is the biggest bullshit moment in the game, in my opinion. But the hardest puzzle, I don't know.
Because you have to have the fish by the time you get to the island. So wait, the bridle's hidden in the boat. The whistle, a pelican is holding, or
right?
Is it a pelican?
No, you're absolutely right.
But you can scare that bird away if you don't throw the fish.
Right. I should have said the bridle. Like the bridle being hidden in the boat.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the biggest bullshit moment. But as far as just puzzle, I don't know. What would you say?
So I think it is. You're wandering through a dark cave, and Rosella. By the way, Princess. The Perils of Rosella is full of these King's Quest moments where you walk onto a screen and something runs up to attack you, and you have to like quick exit the screen. Otherwise,
I know exactly where you're going with
you.
Yeah, so, I know where you're going with this, and it is terribly frustrating.
In the cave, this troll keeps getting you, and that sucks. But then at some point, if you've made it through the cave, and it's not easy to make it through the cave because the troll shows up all the fucking time. So if you make it through the cave, then you just fall to your death at some point. And you're like, what the hell?
Right.
So if you managed to notice and pick up the plank that's outside the cave, you might go, okay, I'll lay the plank over the... But then, so you walk into the screen, you say, like, lay plank on chasm, or lay plank over cliff, or put plank on ground. It's very specific language, first of all. But then it'll be like, you're not close enough. So you walk a little closer, you try it again. It's like, you're not close enough. You try it again, not close enough. Then you fall off and die. And then you need to pick up the board to get, it's just, you need to be in an exact right spot. And it's even worse on your way back because you have to not only get close enough to the chasm, you also have to be on the right vertical axis.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Or you put down the board and then you can't cross. You just get stopped in the middle when you hit a stalactite or something. It sucks.
It almost feels like really bad platforming in a way.
Yeah, because right after that you jump a bunch of lily pads.
You jump
by just typing jump literally 10 times in a row. You just type jump.
Yep. That is what you do. And also, so this is the part where you get the magical fruit that is going to save King Graham. You can actually forget to take it.
Or eat it.
Or you can eat it. But as we've said, in adventure games, don't eat the food in your inventory. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Is it Dagger of Amon-Ra where you can fuck yourself by eating the food
Yep.
as well?
The corned beef sandwich is lean.
Right. Right.
And you can eat it, and then you are stuck hardcore.
Yeah, don't
you
eat the
cannot move
food.
on. Do not eat the food.
So yeah, I mean, this game has some cool stuff. Like, it does turn day to night at some point. That's really fun.
It's got ghosties.
There's a reflection, which I did not remember.
Hmm.
There's one mirror in the game that will reflect your character as you walk past it.
That's cool.
It is on the ground floor right when you walk into the ghost mansion.
It's like cutting edge technology.
But like, I know, like, it felt like it. I was like, oh my god, is it really reflect? It is. Whoa. Is this the first adventure game that had a female protagonist?
I have gone over this in my brain. I don't think it is the absolute first. I'm gonna say there has got to be something. I think Jewel of the Jungle was like 91 or 90, so that was close. Colonel's Bequest actually came out in 88.
Okay, so Colonel's Bequest was before it. Well, Jill of the Jungle was, I don't know that,
Right?
that was a platformer.
Well,
Right.
Now I wonder if Colonel's Bequest came out first or not, because I know there was
looking
this
it up.
King's Quest 4. I think they're okay. I'm gonna get really nerdy for everyone
Okay.
listening. So there's a 8 and a 9 disc version. The 9 disc version came out in 88, and the 8 disc version came out in 89. And the the 9 disc version, it actually has different art, and there's also an AGI and an SCI version. So basically there's 3 different versions. They all look a little different and handle things differently, but the original version came out in 88.
Yeah, I think
Colonel's
that.
Bequest is 89.
Yep, you're right. So I made a brief mistake. I was thinking of Colonel's Bequest when I said
Yeah.
89. So actually, King's Quest 4 is even newer than that, or even older than that, Matt. It's 88.
Yeah, I'm looking just at a list of adventure games. Task Times in Tone Town, that was a female character?
I believe so. That was on a different console. I want to say that was like for Apple consoles, maybe.
Or was Task Times I've never played it, but it sounds
That was
like a female name.
That's I don't remember. That's Becca.
Oh, no,
Heinemann's game.
Yeah, Task Times was not the name of a character. It was
No, it's not.
It's
like Task Times,
which isn't a word.
That makes sense to me.
But it is a word apparently in that world.
What about those fairy tale games that Sierra did? Like the
Right. Mixed Up Mother Goose.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, who are the
You
are
could
we
be a girl
playing?
in that, because you kind of choose like your own avatar,
That's
right?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can pick girl or boy.
That's
But they
87.
don't really have a character. I think it's probably, and I guess below the root, can you can pick your gender, right?
Yeah, I think so. But let's be fair. I would say that Perils of Rosella was the first, like, very blatant, like, very,
This is a character, and she has a backstory, and she has a personality. Yeah. Sort of. She sort of has a personality.
Sort
Right, it was a little generous, but yeah.
Before we get out of this segment, what else? How do you feel about this game now?
I love this game.
Yeah.
I have very, like, fond emotions about this game because it's cozy. It's got different themes in it than the other. I mean, the King's Quest games can be very corny. They kind of, especially as they got more advanced and more modern, they got extremely corny. But this one is not, to me. This one has this very, like, dense type of coziness that I just really appreciate. And I think more than many adventure games, I love being in that world that was drawn and created.
I agree. I think this world is like the first of these Sierra worlds that was just fun to be in, right?
Yeah, it's great to be in. Yeah.
Like, it's full of flowers and it's beautiful. A lot of the screens don't even have anything in them. They're just nice to look at.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting, Rose, the way you put that it has like a cozy. It's not as corny. I almost wonder if Graham's looming death or the peril that he's in is that sustenance.
Yes.
That word.
Resonance.
Kind of because the other King's Quest were a little. The other King's Quest could be a little. I don't know, almost like a parodies of fairy tales in a sense, where it's just like, yeah. So maybe King Graham's like over looming peril gives you that feeling of like purpose during the game or something like that. But
yeah, it definitely King Graham's like impending death, and also Genesta's. She's also sick, and there's this terrible villain, and yeah, like the stakes are, and there's even like this impoverished couple, and there's always like an impoverished couple in King's Quest, but this one felt better and like more natural to interact with.
They did, but they made it hard for me to want to give them the diamonds. I'm like,
Fair.
You guys are not being very cool to me.
I mean, I would also be in a bad mood if all my husband did was fish all day, and that's all we ate was like fucking.
But then didn't
trout.
even catch anything. Never even caught anything. Just went home and complained. What? This is the thing about the King's Quest games. What is with these people? There's so many people in the King's Quest games that are like in such dire straits, like on the verge of death.
Dude, you're right.
And all we
do rocks about it.
All we do to save them is walk 7 screens to the right, pick up something, and walk back and give it to them. Like, they couldn't have done that?
I mean, they should have looked in that log. They should have looked in that tree stump.
They should have cleaned the dwarves' house. Apparently, that gets you unlimited diamonds for life. It is.
I love it when Matt rants about like, what are these people doing? I felt like that was a common complaint for daggers. Like, what are they doing?
Like, what? Yeah, what are? It's just. There's so many people that are like, I'm starving.
So much nihilism, yeah.
It's just like, oh, I found a magic ball next to your house.
Matt, please. They could be too frail to leave their house. They haven't eaten. Have some sympathy.
Also, there is something a little weird about being the first game with a like named female protagonist. First adventure game with a named female protagonist, and the first thing you do in the game is clean a house.
Yeah,
like that's your first. Yep. That was like the first task. Is like, oh, I'll just go clean these people's house.
Yeah, and she's suspiciously good at it too.
For a princess, yeah, like people clean her house for her. How did she know how to do this?
To be fair, again, that's like coming from Snow White. That's what she did. She cleaned the house. Also, in King's Quest 3, because you are like a servant, you do a lot of cleaning in that game as well.
That's true.
Right,
well, right. But that's not tied to a puzzle. You have to clean in King's Quest 4. You have to do it.
Right. There's like a sympathy to the character when they clean. When Rosella cleans, the dwarves are like, oh, good. Like, oh, cool. Like, we expected somebody to do this for us.
But also,
a woman was nearby.
You know what, though? Like as a woman myself, I do feel like a sense of like, oh, she knows what she's doing. She knows exactly what she's doing to get exactly what she wants, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, it's the one point where I guess she manipulates somebody else instead of them.
But she got diamonds out of it. Fine, I'll dust as much as you fucking want.
Yeah, now I have unlimited diamonds.
I'll spit on that palm and get in there. It's just... and the game also has Edgar, which is very sweet. Edgar just spectacular. Never in a game does somebody fail to read a room like Edgar does at the very end.
Oh my god, yeah. He's like, she just went through this harrowing adventure, and this guy is just like, so, want to get married? What?
But I also love that she says no.
Yes.
She's like, no, that's stupid. What are you even talking about?
And he just pouts. He's just like, oh.
But I do love Edgar. I subscribe to like the Beauty and the Beast theory, where I wish the Beast would have just stayed that way, and I don't really like him as Prince Adam or whatever. I think his name
It
is
ruins
Prince Adam.
the message.
Yeah.
The message of Beauty and the Beast is, hey, don't judge people based on their looks. And if you don't, they'll get really hot.
It's true, but like I don't know, there's something that changes the character for me when there's like this transformation. So I just wanted Edgar to stay this cute little green like gremlin type of thing, and he gives her a rose. See, gives her a rose. That's who I want to date personally, is a green goblin.
Goblin
before
boy.
his good looks go to his head and he starts getting all vain about it.
Yeah.
Here's an actual quote from the game right before Janessa turns him into a less green man. It says you have a beautiful soul, the fairy says to the ugly little man. And I'm just like, woo, fertile. My God.
Savage.
The ugly little man. Roberta Williams was just sitting there like, how do I describe it? He's an ugly little
Was this
man.
based on her ex or something? Is this just what's going on?
Yeah, she dated an Edgar right before.
But yeah, those are my overall thoughts.
Yeah. How about you, Paul? What sort of overall thoughts do you have about the game?
All right, so I've got just like 3 quick little notes that of things that I really love about this game. If you go to get Pandora's box and you've already gotten the whatever from the witches that stays away evil, the mummy does like this Abe Simpson back into the sarcophagus.
just walks in, hangs his hat, turns around, walks back out. It's
I
so
actually,
good.
that's like one of my favorite jokes I've ever made in a review. Is like, okay, here's the mummy, and that's it. That's all he does. Like, oh,
man,
right.
That's also so funny. Is that the way you defeat the witches? Is you just walk up to them and take their stuff. Like they're the most important part of their life. Yep. They're just passing back and forth, and you could just walk up and take it out of their hands. They're like, hey, we didn't think anyone would do this. We couldn't have foreseen this coming. Okay, what's your next note?
Because it makes too much sense in that sort of game.
And only one of them's chasing you around, and the other two are just standing there like, hey! Okay, all right. What is your next note number 2?
Note number 2, Violett.
I pronounce it Violett.
Violett.
That's how I pronounce it.
That is now canon. Viollett's death is super metal because she's so evil that love kills her, and I'm just like, wow, that's.
It almost makes her seem cooler. Like I like her more now.
Right. Oh man. Okay. All right. And then other than that, one, there's this game. Can a game make you cry? Ad. Just one of the cringiest ads of all time. I just had to bring that up. Where the ad they ran.
Yeah, tell me about this. I don't know this.
So the ad they ran for this game at the time was like, can a computer game make you cry? With like a single tear coming down the cheek. I might be making the graphic part up, but I think that's there too.
Holy shit.
The story was Sierra screened the game for people, and a woman in the audience actually cried.
Man.
Over King Graham's implied death, let's say.
Okay.
And so they took that and ran a whole ad campaign on it, and it's just it's a tough watch. Yeah, it's super cringy.
Well, they didn't need to. Because before that, like I'd cried at Leisure Suit Larry 1 when he gets gonorrhea and dies. Every time I forget to wear the condom in Leisure Suit Larry 1, I cry. You are too beautiful a soul for this world, I yell.
Man, they should have run an ad campaign based on that.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That is absolutely amazing,
really
and I can't
cool.
wait to go watch that.
Another weird thing about this game is, did you guys, the version that you played, did you get a code at the end?
No, because, and really accidentally smooth transition there, Matt, because my last note is, for people listening who or maybe even like, why should I even play it at this point? Because that sounds like just a lot of bullshit. Grab the AGS version. So Adventure Game Studio, dev named Dr. Slash did an incredibly faithful, really well polished. Like it feels like you pay money for it. Like it's there's nothing about it that's like ragged, there's no fan game vibes is what I'm trying to say. It's really polished point and click version of this game. And when you start the game, it gives you an option to turn off all the dead ends. So you can play it authentically with them on, or you can just turn them off. And it's really cool. And the point and click interface does some interesting things where like the bridle's not a problem because of the hotspot highlights and things like that. So if anybody listening like hasn't played it, kind of wants to play it but doesn't want to deal with the bullshit, I'd highly suggest you grab the AGS remake.
Thank you for that. That's a very good suggestion.
And that's Perils of Rosella Retold. Is it that one?
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly,
okay. Cool.
Exactly. So I didn't get I don't think there's a code in that one, but yeah, I played that in prep for this episode. That was the version I played.
So it's great when you play when you play the original version at the end. I don't know if it's you have to get a perfect score or not, but at the end I got a code and I was like, what the fuck is this code? Because I was thinking like, old school games, you get a code sometimes as like a save point. And I was like, but these had save slots and I beat the game. So why would I need a code for the end of the game? So I looked it up. Apparently there was a contest running when this game was released and you would mail the code into Sierra.
Oh.
And you the Sherwood Forest thing?
You could
win a trip to England.
You could win. It was the Great Master Adventure Contest. Win a trip to England or one of 2,000 other prizes.
Oh, cool.
Oh man, I need that code.
You could get a Tandy computer or a free T-shirt or another game. Isn't that just wild?
That is wild. I never noticed that. I don't. Maybe I just didn't sit around to see if there was a code.
My code was 5DE9084D9A.
All right, let's send it in.
Send it in. Send it in.
Sending it in.
All right. Any other last thoughts before we get out of here and rank some adventure games?
I have not a single thought.
It's a cool game. Go play it. It's a cool little piece of history.
Thanks, Matt.
I think, you know what? If you are not interested, if you're not like a completionist and want to play things in order, I feel like this is the first game that's like very fun. The other ones are like you suffer a bit.
You get a little torturesome, just a little bit.
Yeah.
Hey, unless you like that, we're not here to judge.
No, hey.
Hey,
whatever.
You do you.
Whatever gets your lot off. All
right, before we're gonna have to argue about what the right way to pronounce that is, Matt, because I think it's Lolo, but that you
think
know
it's
what?
Lolo? I think it's Lalot. And what was the way that you originally pronounced it, Paul?
L-O-L-O-D.
Okay, L-O-L-O-D. You know, I like that one. That's probably it.
Yeah, that's probably right.
So before we, what did you want to say?
I just want to say before we leave, we are part of the Adventure Game Hotspot Network, as is Paul. If you didn't know that, aforementioned, he has a podcast, Classic Gamers Guild. Go over to Adventure Game Hotspot Network and read reviews, listen to podcasts. Happy to be a part of that. And if you have any comments, questions, peeves, gripes, send it to us. mattandroses@gmail.com.
Did you win the trip to England? Tell Matt and Roses, and they'll
tell
tell
us
me
about it. Yeah. Did you send in the code? We want to hear from you.
You recently had an interview go up on Adventure Game Hotspot. Whoops. Adventure Game, the good one. AdventureGameHotspot.com, right?
Yes, the good
I did,
one.
yeah. Yeah, it's super wordy. So if anybody just listened to this episode, you're off the hook. That's enough.
Okay, we are going to take a quick break. I'm going to throw on Swinky Maximino, and we'll be back for the best segment ever created, where we rate every adventure game ever made, whether we played it or not.
Okay, everybody, welcome back to Save Your Game. I am Matt Aukamp. With me is Pushing Up Roses.
Hey.
And we also got Paul Korman with us.
Ta-da!
So this is our segment where we rank every adventure game ever. I have a list of 3,000 some adventure games and a random number generator, and we just pick 5 random games off the list and rank them, even though we haven't played most of them. So remember, we added a new rule. We haven't employed it yet, I don't think, but we added a new rule where we can skip. If there's one where we just look at it and we're like, I don't fucking know, you can skip one and only one per episode. So, are you guys ready to rank some adventure games?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. The first game is a game from this is 1239. So it's a game from 2012 by the company Ion FX.
Oh.
And it's called Miasma.
I feel like
Miasmata. I apologize. That's a totally different thing. Miasmata.
Looking it up. Okay, so this is a
first-person survival adventure.
I was gonna say it's a survival game. Yeah.
Yeah. And
I don't know how to look it up. Sorry.
It looks,
we just Google real fast.
Google. Yeah.
Miasmata.
Miasmata. I've never heard of this game ever.
I have not either, and I'm not getting a good sense.
It's like a first-person 3D game, but it looks like survival, but there's some puzzle elements. Yeah, you're right. I'm having a hard time getting a sense of this one.
And I'm looking at the latest fleet of Mazda cars.
Oh, okay. Well, is that helping?
How's that going?
Yeah, you know what? It's inspired me. I was gonna go pretty hard on this game, but I feel like bumping it up to wait, how do we rank it? Is it out of 10?
No, we have we have a list. I'll read down the list. We haven't done that in a couple episodes. All right. We have 30 games on here so far, and so 1 to 30.
And remember, they are ranked by mediocrity. So start with the good ones, and then say when we enter mediocre territory.
We do, yeah. Okay, well, that's just a thing that we've decided. There's like an island of mediocrity in the middle of the list.
Well, that helps us rank it.
Yeah, that we kind of like. We realized we were putting the good games that we've played and we like at the top, and then right below that we realized we were putting experimental games that looked interesting even if not good, and then we realized right below that it was just all the mediocreist games that the world could ever encounter, and then after that it's just like games that just look legitimately bad.
Yeah.
So
dude, I just got like crazy deja vu. And part of the deja vu is where I say that because Mazdas are uninspired and they're not fun to look at, but they're reliable, that I would give it. Oh, this is so weird. And I know it's unfair to you guys because it's like when people explain their dreams, like you don't really know what to say. Like, yeah. I'm happy for you, bud. Like, glad you're having a deja vu. But yeah, anyway,
so
it's
Paul,
passing.
I will read you the list that we have so far. It goes Portal, Franbo, Papers, Please, Cube Escape, The Lake, Scratches, Been There, Dan That, Amnesia, Rebirth, Wavetail, Midnight Girl, Amos Green's Final Repose, Last Half of Darkness, Beyond the Spirit's Eye, Byzantine the Betrayal, Murder, She Wrote, Legend of Hand, Ben Jordan, Paranormal Investigator, Case 7, The Cardinal Sins, Hell, a Cyberpunk Thriller, Dark Grim Mariupolis, The Seventh Guest, A Whisper in the Twilight, Deponia Doomsday, Krabat and the Secret of the Sorbian King, Randall's Monday, Again, Elena, Displaced Reality, Astronomica, The Quest for the Edge of the Universe, Minecraft Story Mode, Batman Partners in Peril, Blue Force, The Fan, and then the worst adventure game of all time, Wild Wild West, The Steel Assassin.
See, I think this game looks kind of bad.
Miasmata? Yeah, it kind of does look bad, huh?
I actually honestly get very bad vibes from this game.
Oh, like it's spooking you out. Like you feel if you played this game, something bad would happen in your life.
No, not like a bad omen. Just like I don't like it. Like something is icky about the graphics to me.
They look grungy. They look like it looks
like unfinished.
It looks like a dirty. It looks like somebody made a game and then like spilled pond water on it. Right. I was like, fuck. Well, it's got to go out somehow.
Like it looks like it's one of those games. It looks like it has potential, but I would ultimately put this kind of low.
It's got the sort of like 3D assets of like
Yeah.
of like Morrowind or something, where you're just
Yes,
kind of
that's
like,
why I'm
"What?"
getting ick. I'm like, oh,
Oh,
I want to put this low, but I'm open to.
I'd put it. I'm also thinking low. What are you thinking, Paul?
I'm not gonna fight for it. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. Why don't we put it pretty low? I'd say let's go below Minecraft. No, below. I'd say below Batman Partners in Peril, because at least that's Batman.
Yeah, that looks interesting. So I
But
agree.
But
Sound logic.
above Blue Force, because it doesn't look like morally bankrupt.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would
Okay.
agree with that. Yeah.
All right. Here's our next game. 1368. So this is from 2013. I've actually played this game.
Nice.
From Forever Entertainment. It is Violett with 2 T's.
Oh, okay. I own that game. I haven't played much of it.
Okay. Have you ever
Um,
played this game, Paul?
No, but I was able to search it, so that's we're doing better over here. Yeah.
All right. I will tell you, it's not good.
Yeah. I'm
It's-
reading reviews. Yeah.
It's actually it was a very disappointing game.
That
Because it looks
sucks.
very pretty, but it is just substanceless. The puzzles are bad and annoying.
No.
There's a lot of like, there's a lot of stuff. It's like just difficult to like wrap your head around the mechanics. There's a lot of like pixel hunting.
Yeah.
It's not a good game. I'd say it is a bad game.
And I think a lot of people agree with you. So
yeah?
yeah. And I understand what they're saying.
I would pitch this one pretty low. I think it's above like the games that are legitimately awful.
Sure.
I think it's gonna fall. To me, it would fall somewhere towards the low end of the mediocre island.
I mean, if it's as bad as people are saying, I would actually put it in the bad game section almost.
I mean, I think it's probably better than like Minecraft's story mode.
Is it though?
I very much think so, because at least it wasn't like the biggest problem with it was boring, but at least it wasn't the length of a Telltale game and boring.
Mm.
Okay, fair. I will leave it because Matt has played it. I will
Mhm.
leave it to Matt to place it.
Yeah, that's fair. All I can add to it is it's got one room with MC Escher vibes, so
Okay.
Yeah, I saw that.
It gets a bonus point for that.
Yeah, there's some cool design in it, right? Like
Yeah,
there's some
there is.
there's like MC Escher style stuff. There's a lot of like absurdist
Yeah.
looking and like fairy tale looking stuff. It looks really cool, but it wasn't fun to play. So I'm I'm gonna just put it right above Minecraft Story Mode and right below
Okay.
Astronomica, the quest for the edge of the universe. So it is our new 26.
Oh, adventure game titles. What are
I
you
know.
even doing?
That's the best part of this segment. Is just the insane adventure game titles. Okay, this one is actually a pretty early one from 1991.
Ooh.
I have never heard of this game.
Okay.
It is by Cineplay Interactive,
Oh boy.
and it is called Free DC exclamation point.
Wow.
The
Okay,
sound
let me
of
look this up real
3
quick.
people Googling.
Yep, you know it. Wait, what's it called again?
Free DC. You can find
Just-
it on the Abandonware website.
Just D, like letter D.
D.C.
Okay. Free DC.
Exclamation point. Sorry. D.C. exclamation point.
Okay, I found. Okay.
There's some
found the
FMV.
wiki. So I do know things about Cineplay. I
Okay.
believe Cineplay. Let me look it up real quick before I say anything.
This
Real
game is
dumb.
not fun to look at.
No, it is not.
It's not fun to what?
It's not fun to look at.
Oh,
It's-
no. It's got this horrible like inventory, like UI that takes
Yeah.
up more than it looks like. Maybe I'm just exaggerating because it's so obnoxious, but it looks like it takes up more than half.
Right. It does
Of
have a
the screen.
60-40 vibe, totally.
Okay, so here's what I kind of know about this, right? So, and this is kind of what I thought and what I was thinking of. There was a developer called Cinemaware. They did a slightly-ish well-known game called The King of Chicago and a couple other games. It's a little cult classic-y. And Cinemaplay is some of those former designers. They went on to the former employees went to do this company. They only have 2 games credited on Moby Games, Power Politics and Free DC. I didn't like the Cinemaware games. So that being said, I don't like this one either. There is just something about, it's like Paul said, it's not great to like look at.
It hurts the eyes. And here's something I'll tell you guys. The entire time you've been talking, I've been watching a YouTuber just try to get past a single sequence. And it looks like he's fighting a robot, and he's just clicking around, and he's clicking the same thing multiple times, and he's just like walking back and forth and unable to figure it out. And then it cuts to black, and then it stays black for like 3 to 5 seconds before the next screen loads.
No. I mean, I would put this pretty damn low.
Yeah, I think that's low. I think this looks like it sucks. At one point on this UI, it says it says gun, feet, map. Those are your 3 verbs.
Yeah, I don't like looking at this game. Why are all the games bad today? Like, what is going on? Don't understand.
Gun feet, the gun feet map reminds me, do you guys ever hear about the Tiger Electronics Doug game?
Yeah.
It's got 2 buttons, Doug and faster. So you can do 2 things in the game. You could either Doug or you could faster.
You know what it's missing? It's missing a good crank. That would really
helped it. All right, where do you guys put free DC from Cineplay Interactive?
I mean, I want this to even go below Blue Force, because even though Blue Force might be a little morally weird, I know that because I know there's going to be some amusement.
Like charm.
Yes.
Yeah. This looks charmless. Yeah, it really does look charmless. But that's why we put Wild Wild West at the bottom, because it looked like absolutely devoid of charm. Do you want this to go? Is this our new bottom?
This might be the bottom for me.
Free
Paul,
DC? Yeah.
How bad do you think this game looks, Paul?
I am more than halfway through forgetting it ever existed.
All right.
Well, that says it all.
DC is our new worst adventure game of all time.
Oh, no.
All right. We got 2 more, unless you guys skip one.
Can I just say, really quickly on Blue Force? I played that game, and here's the problem with Blue Force. The one cool idea is like, hey, you get to be a cop, so you're gonna get to do cop things, and then the whole game takes place with you off duty, having to sneak around. Doing cop shit, even though you're a cop, but you're not allowed to be being a cop right now.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, dude, it makes no sense. You play a cop who's restricted to the rights of just a civilian, but who still has to do cop shit.
That is wow.
That is amazing. Truly.
Several balls were dropped in the process of making that game.
Thank you for validating the fact that we have it as our 30th of 33
low,
games. Okay, so this one is from 2005 by AWE Productions. It is Agatha Christie and Then There Were None.
I have played that one.
Okay.
But let me bring it up real quick. I've played a lot of the Agatha Christie games.
I've never played an Agatha Christie game. I think I have Murder on the Orient Express.
Is this the Wii version?
I don't have specific versions
no worries.
on the list. Just
All right, let me just say this. I think I've also played Murder on the Orient Express, and these games, even though they're kind of games of their time, like if you look at the aesthetics, it's like that looks like a 2005 game. this was a game made by the Adventure Game Company, who did a lot of interesting things with adventure games. They have a wild game called Crime Stories that is not anywhere to play, and it's too hard to run, but I would love to revisit it. I like these games. I think they're cozy. I think they're better than a lot of non-franchised and licensed games. I really do. I do think there's a fun element to them.
So I'll say it looks a little like the Frogwares Sherlock Holmes games, which are mixed bags in terms of quality. It's not made by the Adventure Company. It's published by the Adventure Company. It's made by AWE Productions.
Oh, right.
Sorry, I don't mean to be a know-it-all there. I just was just looking at it.
On mine, it says both. It was like devved and by both companies.
Oh, interesting. Maybe there was some crossover there,
which makes sense to me because this is exactly the kind of style games that they develop and would publish as well.
Have you played these games at all, Paul?
No, I haven't. I like the idea of it just because it's Agatha Christie. And the other thing going forward is, have you guys ever played or familiar with the Blackstone Chronicles? One's a Guns N' Roses.
I'm familiar. Yeah,
I'm familiar. I haven't played them.
It's a little tough to look at. It's from '98, but it actually looks pretty similar to this one.
It does. Okay. Yeah, it does. It does look similar. You have to really, I don't want to say ignore the graphics, but I would say like in spite of the graphics, it's
Here's
still
what
good.
I like about these graphics, though. The characters.
You like them?
Here's what I like. I didn't say I like them. I said here's what I like about them. The characters look like plastic action figures, just like set up in these rooms.
They do.
Dude, totally.
Okay, where are we gonna put it on the list?
I would put this above Murder, She Wrote. I'm kind of like doing a little comparison there. Yeah, so I would put this above Murder, She Wrote. I would put it above Amos Green.
Whoa! Oh, this is going high. Okay.
I think highly of some of these.
That means it kicks Amos Green's Final Repose out of the top 10.
Well, it had to happen sometime.
I don't think I'm still really intrigued by Midnight Girl. Now I haven't played it. So I will allow, I'm not going to argue that this should be below Midnight Girl, but that's my instinct because I think Midnight Girl looks really fucking rad.
That's fair. That's totally fair.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So it's our new number 10, Agatha Christie, and then there were none. All right. So we've got one more. Again, unless you guys skip. So this is a game from 2019.
Wow. Okay.
I have not played this game, but I find it kind of intriguing. It's a game called Clam Man.
Clam Man?
I'm inclined to love this.
Have you guys played Clam Man? I mean, I knew about this game before this came up just now.
Okay, wait. This looks kind of adorable.
It kind of looks adorable, right? Like it's a little cartoon Clam Man. That's like the thing. And it's got a sequel coming out soon. That doesn't change.
That looks really cute. Man, and it's got very positive reviews.
He's a very confident looking clam.
He is. And
he's got he's got a nice little tie.
And it looks like a mystery.
Little ensemble.
Sorry. And the sequel looks like the sequel says it's going to be an RPG, but this first one is a point and click game. And it's a little stylish. It's like hand drawn, it looks like.
I actually really like. I do not get the ick when I look at these graphics.
Right. No, me neither. Oh wait, Clam Man 2 is not made by the same company.
Whoa.
This is interesting. All right, we're going to have to do some detective work into Clam Man
for real.
at some point. But Clam Man. I think it looks cool. An absurd, strange, and hilarious underwater adventure featuring office work, the duck of truth, nasty drinks, and the horrifying reality of mayonnaise crime. I'm digging this.
Yeah, they recorded me.
Okay. I have no idea where to put it on the list, though.
I don't either. I really have no idea where to put this.
Better or worse than Agatha Christie?
Yeah, let's start from there.
Okay.
That's a hard question because they're so different in nature.
Right.
That's why I'm having trouble. Like, where do you stick this in? I would almost compare it to Been There, Dan That, but I've
That's a good
played
idea.
that game and I like that.
Then maybe put it below that because you've played that one and they're kind of comparable.
And I'd rather pick this. So of 2 games I haven't played, I think I'd rather pick up Clam Man than Amnesia Rebirth.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
But you know what that does? That kicks Agatha Christie right back out of the
God
top
damn
10. So our new number 6 is Clam Man by Team
Wow.
Clam.
Love
Man,
it.
we got to raise this bar at some point. Jesus Christ.
The bar is on the ground. The bar is in hell right now. The bar is low.
You know, but I still like our top 5 are Portal, Fran Bow, Papers, Please, Cube Escape, and Scratches. Like that's a
pretty
pretty
good.
top 5.
Right.
I would play any of those at any time. But okay,
Yeah.
there's our games. Hey, Paul,
Yes, sir.
thanks so much for coming on the show, man.
Oh my God! Thanks for having me, you guys. Seriously, I love you both, and this was so much fun. I really just wanted to come on here and talk to you guys and have fun and big old check mark.
Well,
Yay.
we love you too, and I think I speak for both of us when I say we're both really, really looking forward to Phantom Fellows.
Yep,
Yay.
definitely.
We'll
But more
have-
so me. It's a Roses game. It is a game meant for me.
Yay!
Like personally me.
So you made this game for Roses, is what I'm learning just now.
You know, that's not entirely wrong because Roses is actually makes a bit of a cameo in the game, and there's a Roses achievement in the game too.
Whoa!
Yeah, dude.
Jesus! I didn't know this. Payola. This is Gamergate.
No.
Nobody disclosed this information before we had. No, that's.
Sometimes
awesome.
we just like to shout Gamergate. It happens.
Anytime I get a whiff of conflicting interests, I yell Gamergate. It's everyone's favorite part of the podcast. Well, Paul, yeah, thanks for coming on. We'll have to have you on sometime again. It was a really fun time. I hope you had fun as well.
Dude, so much fun. Thank you so much.
So I guess there's only one thing left to say.
And I think I need to start it because I'm an artist. So did you know that podcast is art?
Well, you know what art is, right?
No, what is it?
Artists suffer.
It's true.